Hello everybody, it's Thanatos again, sitting here in my secret lair. Your modern day supervillain, and I'm about to start one of my favorite stories. The Tale of Estellevarta. Estellevarta was a beautiful, beautiful elven princess. Now, she was never destined for greatness, because she was the youngest daughter of her line. She had beautiful eyes that looked like a sparkling amethyst. But she had a strange personality for an elf. She was loving yet cold at the same time, a combination of summer and winter. She loved life and everything living to such a high degree, but she found her own people, the elves, repugnant in so many ways, and this festered her. And of course, the elves, with the mentality that they are, they ostracized Estellevarta, and that made her young, bitter, and angry. Well, an elf just to become a teenager takes a century, and over her first century of life, she was mocked so much by the other elves. Her father, as a youngest princess, her main goal in life would be to be married, to cement a family or clan relationship. But with Estellevarta's personality, no one would want her. So to her family, despite being a princess, she was absolutely useless. But in her own time and with her own tutors, she did learn magic, and that was the one thing that Estellevarta excelled at. And she quietly became a great sorceress. Now, everyone around this didn't know that because they weren't paying attention to her. She was the one to be shunned. But at some point, it became Estellevarta that shunned her own people. She found them corrupt. They thought that they were the pinnacle of life, that they were the great species. And in Estellevarta's eyes, they were just as bad as the humans. They were just smarter, and then they had the art of magic. In the art of magic and subterfuge is where the elves kept their powers for thousands and thousands of years with their great forest kingdoms. You see, Estellevarta is a young child, wouldn't be allowed to join in on the frolics. But the frolics, we as humans, we think of the elves frolicking, they're silly, they're frivolous, dancing around. But in all of that, there was a far more sinister purpose. Because in a year, during their, quote, frolicking, on the edge of the forest, every elf that planted 100 seeds, 100 acorns, would come up 100 trees. And if they do that for 10 years, that's 1,000 each. And they were doing it at a much, much greater rate. They were keeping humanity hemmed in with the great forests, keeping their kingdoms vibrant and lush, while the humans had to basically scrape on coastlines and rock because the great forest dominated the continent. And the elves kept the humans in this state, non-developing, for many, many untold thousands of years. But nobody knew it, other than the elves. And they laughed about it as they danced and plant their seeds, because it's a much easier to make the home that you want than to fight for a home that you want. And without the humans knowing it, they expanded the borders of their houses endlessly and kept the humans pinned on the coasts or the plains or the other places that were very, very un-elven, and of course they would never want. But if the elves ever want them, All they have to do is basically plant the humans out of existence. Estellevarta, learning their secret and also being shunned in their games, would watch them, and she would resent them even more. Now, what Estellevarta did find attractive was water and light. That was purity to her. The elves believe in the 5 elements: air, earth, fire, water, and life. And Estellevarta was the favorite of life and water. And she believed that all life should exist on light and water. And that her own race was just as corrupt as any orc or any human. They were just monsters in their own way. And this young woman, on adulthood, at her ascension to adulthood dinner, which very few attended other than those that had to, she announced that she would not be living with him anymore, and Estellevarta went into exile. And here's where I'll stop the first installment of Estellevarta, and there will be more soon, and I will tell you of Estellevarta and her exile. Have a good day, everyone.